With the Oklahoma Sooners spring game set to come Saturday, there's a lot I want to get into, and today I want to focus on the offensive side of the ball. What am I intrigued by? What am I excited for this Oklahoma Sooners offensive unit? We'll be talking about the defense tomorrow. But before we hop into this, as always, y'all know the drill. I want to hear from y'all. Hop down to the comments, give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Are you excited for this offensive unit going into 2021? And then be sure to let me know, who do you think is going to stand out come Saturday? I'm really intrigued to see what players I should be keeping an eye out for, because I have a list that I am very excited to see, and I really want to hear what y'all's are. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification, because I do constant college football content, and you don't want to miss any of it. I'm on my push to 5,000 subscribers in my first year, and I would love to have you along for that journey. And if you enjoy the content, be sure to like and comment down below, because those interactions are really huge for content creators like myself. But with all of that out the way, I guess there's no better place to start if we're talking about the offense than in the trenches. And this is a very experienced group for the seniors. If you look across the board, this group brings a ton of experience, and that's something that you have to be very excited about. Bill Bedenbaugh is one of the better offensive line coaches in the nation. Look at the landscape of recruiting right now in college football. He's making waves. If we look at the product on field, he's always been able to be very, very good in that aspect as well, and I don't think this year is going to change, especially when you look at the experience this line has. It's something I talk about with the Texas A&M line a lot, which really had them stand out to me last year. They were incredibly talented, but the experience and the discipline they played with is something that takes years to come together. And Oklahoma's in a position now where they have a very experienced offensive line unit with a ton of talent. A guy like Wanye Morris coming in from Tennessee, who used to be a 5-star recruit. This is going to be a very interesting unit to watch. And the reason why I bring them up first and foremost, aside from them being in the trenches, and you always start there, is that we have heard Isaiah Thomas, and even I have talked about on this channel, how the Oklahoma defensive front has got a lot of talent. Now, we're going to go into depth with that tomorrow, but just as a quick preview, getting to see this offensive line go up against a guy such as Isaiah Thomas, and then a Nick Benito, who Nick Benito looks to capitalize on being one of the best pass rushers in all of college football next season. This is going to be an insanely fun battle to watch, and it'll be a good measuring stick for both units. But because of the interesting things Lincoln Riley likes to run, I'm very excited to see how this offensive line is going to be able to come together, because I think they're going to be very good, but seeing them against an equally good defensive front is just going to be must-see TV come Saturday, and it's going to be a great measuring stick for both units. But like I said, this is a Bill Bedenbaugh unit. This is a Lincoln Riley unit. This is a unit that has all the experience you could want, and that right there should give you reason to sleep very well at night. The Oklahoma Sooners offense stays largely intact, but moving from the offensive line to tight ends and wide receivers, and tight ends first, the Oklahoma Sooners have always had good tight end play. Austin Stogner looks to continue that. He has been making waves through spring, which is something you're excited to hear, because every weapon you can implement in this offense is only going to benefit your end goal all the more. On the wide receiver front, we've talked about on this channel before how Oklahoma and Ohio State have a legitimate debate as to which receiving core is the deepest in college football. Both of them have an insanely deep wide receiver core, and not only is it talented, because there's a few other institutions that have talented wide receiver cores and insanely talented wide receiver cores, but it's the experience that both the Oklahoma room and the Ohio State room bring back that really separates themselves, in my opinion. And look, this is a receiving room that, for all the talent they had, left a little bit to be desired last year, and really through no fault of their own, through some of the inconsistencies. The unit hasn't been able to really gel together because they haven't been able to be on the field at the same time. Hasselwood has had injuries in his career, and I'm really hoping he can put together a full year, because he is an unbelievable talent. I remember watching him when he was in high school, being blown away. I'm really excited for him to be able to contribute, because we've heard good things about him from the spring. But also a guy like Marvin Mims, we know how incredibly talented he is. He looks to just jump on the college football scene this year and capitalize on an incredible season last year. Having another year with Spencer Rattler, another year in the system, he's going to be a name to watch. But the most incredible and intriguing thing to me about this Oklahoma receiving core is you have Hasselwood, you have Mims, and perhaps one of the names that we're most looking forward to is a true freshman, Mario Williams, who Spencer Rattler has described as one of the most explosive and fastest players on the team. And look, you don't want to be making fast mistakes, but as long as you're able to process the game well and go through the progressions well, as long as he can learn the offense, and by all accounts in the spring game, he's been phenomenal in every aspect. Speed kills in college football. If you can do everything right, speed kills, and having a guy like a Mario Williams to come in there and plug in instantly is going to be huge for the Sooners. And it's crazy because that was maybe one of the position groups where they were so talented in, it was kind of an afterthought. And then you get a guy who is making this much headway in spring camp. This kid should be in high school, but spring camp no less. That right there is awesome. I cannot wait for Saturday to come for me to see him out there on the field, out there playing, because I've heard so many good things. And this is a guy who we've talked about before on the channel, who this receiving core as a whole, just from having a guy that can really take the top off the defense, which really everybody on the Oklahoma receiving core has the ability to do, but you can never have too many weapons in today's college football for those outside guys that are home run hitters. So the Oklahoma wide receivers, what am I looking for out of them come Saturday? Just more consistency, more progression. I'm very excited to see them all get to work, but maybe more excited than any to see Mario Williams, and I think that that's natural. I'm not saying that he's going to instantly be wide receiver one or that he's going to take anybody's job, but he is the new guy on campus and he's making headway, and for him to be able to do that quickly is incredibly impressive, and I cannot wait to see it. For the running back position, it is almost the same conversation as the wide receiver position. This group is loaded. Kennedy Brooks coming back after opting out of the 2020 season, which I completely understand. Whatever decision is best for you and your family, I'm glad he had the courage to make that decision, and he's coming back this year, and he looks to remind college football just who he is, and that's going to be an NFL player. Kennedy Brooks, incredibly talented, and being coached like a DeMarco Murray. Right? Being coached by a guy like DeMarco Murray, I love that hire that Oklahoma did. I think it is awesome. I talked about on the channel, quick side note, that when Mark Ingram retires, I'd love for Alabama to bring him in. I think that would be awesome because the DeMarco Murray to OU hire has really been doing great things. Recruits love him, and the way that he talks about this running back position, he just understands it on such a microscopic level. It is so much fun listening to DeMarco Murray talk. But aside from Kennedy Brooks, because we know he's going to have a good season, me being a big SEC fan, me watching a lot of SEC football, I know Eric Gray very well. And I've told the Sooners fans, I've told everybody that will listen, this is a home run get by Oklahoma. This guy has got it. Whatever it is, he has it. And now you put him in the Lincoln Riley system. That right there is going to spell trouble for the Big 12, and the Big 12 already had to be on the lookout for Oklahoma, and now you give them Eric Gray to put along with Kennedy Brooks? Goodness me. And the thing that's so intriguing about Eric Gray is when we listened to DeMarco Murray talk in the spring, he said the biggest thing he's looking for out the running back room is versatility. And then right after saying that, he said, and Eric Gray might be our most versatile back. That's very high praise. The ability he has to get involved in the passing game, in the running game, is going to be a very big bonus for the Oklahoma Sooners. So what am I looking for out the running backs? Well, one, it's kind of the same conversation as the wide receivers. Incredibly talented unit. One of the most talented units in all of college football, and because of that, I cannot wait to see them get to work. But they're going to be going up against a very talented defensive front, and because of that, I'm very excited to see how they navigate it. Just like the offensive line, it's a good measuring stick. And I'm also looking to see how they're implemented in the passing game. Once again, this is a spring game. We're not going to be seeing intriguing wrinkles. We're not going to be seeing anything new or anything that they're cooking up. But we are going to be seeing very basic variations of schemes that Oklahoma runs, and in that regard, we will see them being involved in the passing game. And finally, we get to the quarterbacks where y'all return one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football. And really, for Spencer Rattler, this is an intriguing year because the world is his oyster. He comes out this year, plays well, plays up to his ability, and he is the guy in the NFL draft as far as quarterbacks are concerned. That's all in his ballpark, and he has the ability to capitalize upon that. The Oklahoma Sooners, I've heard rave reviews about Rattler in the spring, how he's processing things much quicker. And the interesting thing about Spencer Rattler is this is his first spring in the program. Last year not getting a spring, and so this is going to be very intriguing for him and very good for him in the long run. And I think from what I've heard, he is fully capitalized on it and is going to be every bit as dangerous as we think he can be, because the kid has otherworldly talent, truly special talent. I'm very excited to see him go play because I love the style in which he plays. But that's not all for the Sooners. Maybe a bright spot. 5-star quarterback Caleb Williams is coming along and is much further ahead than anybody thought. Caleb Williams was a guy we knew had unlimited talent, a huge arm, very athletic and escaping the pocket, but it was all about developing him as a quarterback further so that as soon as Spencer left, this guy was ready to come in. And apparently, he is in spring where they thought he would be coming out of fall camp. That's scary for college football to be hearing. Because he's that far along, they can really start breaking him into smaller nuances of the game and focusing on that, so that if Spencer Rattler leaves this year and he takes over, he is going to be poised, from everything we're hearing at least, to have a great career, and I'm very excited to hear about that. It is really interesting to hear that he is probably making as many waves as anybody on this roster. He has been receiving rave reviews along with other guys on this offensive unit, Mario Williams, Spencer Rattler, and Eric Gray. But for your freshman quarterback to be that far along, to be exceeding expectations in that manner, and it's not just the ability we hear about. Apparently, he has an uncanny leadership aspect about him, and it's infectious. That right there, it almost rings to me, being an Alabama fan, from what I used to hear when Jalen Hurts was a true freshman on campus, going into when Alabama was playing USC, and you heard over and over again, not only is this kid much further ahead than we thought he was, he's got an uncanny leadership ability. Now, the difference is Alabama didn't have a set-in-stone quarterback going into the USC game. Jalen Hurts able to capitalize off of that. The rest is history. The Oklahoma Sooners have Spencer Rattler, but that will be all the better for Caleb Williams, for him to be able to continue to develop, to learn from a guy like Spencer Rattler and Lincoln Riley. This is someone who I cannot wait to see in the spring game because I've heard so much about him. Very excited to see what he can go do, but this is a name we're going to be talking about in the future, I have no doubt about it. But with all of that being said, the Oklahoma offense is deadly. This unit is going to be one of the most prolific units in college football, and I'm very excited to see. Who are you looking forward to in the spring game? Are you excited for the offense? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no down in the comments, and then let me know who are your breakout players come Saturday. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification, and if you enjoy the video, drop a like. And that's it. See ya.